Hello everyone. Today we are going to be looking at the notebook interface provided by the Jupyter system. So Jupyter is kind of short for Julia, Python, R. So it was meant to be a common system for interactively writing code in all these and many more languages. So the basic workspace in Jupyter is what is known as a notebook. A notebook is a document which contains in one place your code, the results of that code, as well as any kind of descriptive notes, comments, documentations you would like to write. And it's all contained together in just a single file so that you can easily email it, save it, and so on. So it's like a container which contains all your code and your data. And to actually execute the code, we need a Julia server and we need what is known as a kernel for each language that we would like to use. So, for example, we will be coding in this course using Julia. Sorry, we need a Jupyter server. So, in this course, we will be coding using Julia. So, we need a Jupyter server to give the notebook interface, and we need a Julia kernel which will actually execute the code. So for the departmental server that we have set up, we have both this component. So today, instead of looking at the specifics of the language Julia, we will be just looking at the particulars of how this notebook interface actually operates. So let us begin. So we have gone to the notebook interface and we'll log in using our credentials. So this first page that you see is your list of notebooks. So like on a computer you have a file explorer. So this is like that you have an explorer for all the notebooks that you have. Right now we don't have any notebooks. So let us begin a new notebook. So we go here on the top left, you will see new. So we say new here. And you get to see all the language kernels that are installed. So you have Julia on the system, you have Python, you have R. You can also edit plain text file, you can manage using folders, and you can go to a computer terminal and type commands. So right now we'll begin with Julia. So when you click that, a new notebook is created for you. So let us look at the interface that we are provided. So here when you see untitled, this is the title. So you can click on this and you can edit the title. So let me click. So I click here and I give it some name. So let me give it a name, say class 1. And so I am going to rename the notebook. So I click rename here and my notebook gets renamed to class 1. You can see next to it last checkpoint a few seconds ago. So basically the Jupyter system will keep saving your work from time to time autosave, and when you want to do a manual save, then you can click on this first icon, the floppy here, to do a manual save. Okay, and you can see here that the kernel we are running is Julia 1.5.0, right? And if there's a problem, you will find out what problem is happening. Now what you see below here, which says in, is basically a input cell. So in this cell you can type text, you can type code. So let us begin by typing in some code. Okay, so we have not yet learned about the Julia language, so the code that we are going to type in is going to be very trivial. It's going to be 2 plus 2. So you type in your code 2 plus 2. Then to execute the code, you have to type shift plus enter, right? If you type enter, it just inserts. So I typed enter right now, it just inserts a blank line. So that's not what we want. We want this code to be sent to the Julia program to be executed and for us to get the result of the evaluation. So for that you have to type shift plus enter. So that's what I'm going to do now. So you see that in it has become a star, then the star became 1. So when you see star next to a cell number, then it says that that cell is queued up for execution. So it is being sent to Julia to be executed. And then when you get 1, later on we are going to have more cells. So it gives you the order in which the cells are executed. So it says that this is the first cell which was executed, and now you get an out result which is 4. and we can keep running more cells like this. So you can say 2 into 3 and so on, same kind of thing. Again press shift enter and you get this. Now you can insert new cell. So you see that every time I press shift enter, the last cell, a new blank cell is created for me. But that is not necessary. If you want to insert a cell in between, go to a cell, and here when you look at insert, you can say insert cell above, or you can insert cell below. So you can insert cells in between, right? You can go back to cells and change. So I go back to this cell and I say, okay, I want some other calculation. Again press shift enter and the results will become changed, right? So this way we'll build up code. We'll go to various cells and write code. Okay. Now once you've written a lot of code, sometimes you want to execute all of them together. So you go to kernel and you say restart and run all. So this is a good thing to do, because when you're running things, often the state of your language will, of your language kernel will become some unknown state. So it's good to start from a clean slate and run everything. So from time to time, when you think that your code is in a good shape, you say restart and run all. So it will ask you to confirm. You say yes, I am sure that I want to restart and run all cells, and you say restart and run all. So just give it a minute. You will see here the Julia kernel will get restarted, and then we'll execute all the cells. You see it got restarted, all the output disappeared, and it was run again. Now these are code cells and these are the results. But apart from code cells, we have something known as markdown cells. So the idea behind this notebook is that you keep your code and its documentation together. So let's insert a cell above this. So we say insert cell above. So now by default, as I said, the type of a cell is a code cell, but we'll change the type. So we'll go to cell and we say cell type and we say markdown. So what is markdown? Markdown is a language for specifying formatted text. So you can write plain ordinary text. So you can say this is my first notebook, and you say shift enter, then that just becomes plain text. This is my first notebook. But markdown has specific codes which you can give to format things in a certain way. For example, if you want a heading, so I double click this to make this editable again. So I double click the cell and I insert a single hash. So then this will be formatted as a heading. So you say shift enter. So this will be like a heading. Below this I can have one more markdown cell in which I write simple text. Okay. So this notebook is just to start. So you can go to Wikipedia and look up markdown. Okay, what happened now? I made a mistake. The mistake I made is that cells are code cells by default. So it tried to interpret this as Julia, and surely this is not Julia. So I should have changed the cell type. So I should have changed the cell type to markdown. So now this will be fine. So go to Wikipedia and look up markdown, and that will tell you all the kind of codes that you can use. So say put a star against start. So then it will become italicized. And the good part is that later on we'll see how once you have built up a netbook, you can export it to Word format or PDF and so on, and get a ready-made document that you can publish. Okay. So the notebook itself can be run only when you have Jupyter and you have the appropriate kernel, in our case the Julia kernel. But the notebook file can be converted into a document just for reading. Okay. But for the timing, let us save this and close it. Okay. So when you close this, let's go back to the home page, the first tab. Now you see that you have a new, in your list of notebooks, now you have a notebook called class1.ipynb. Class1 is the name that we gave to a notebook, and the notebook files will have the extension called ipynb. So now this is just an ordinary file. So you could download this, you could mail it to someone and so on. Okay. So when you click this, you could duplicate, view, edit, no download. Okay, so I will open this again. So when you go to file, so I click to open this, then you can download as. So you can download as various formats, or you can download the notebook itself. So when you say download as notebook, if I click this, then a download will be started, and I can get a file which I can save, and this saved file I can share with anyone, or I can keep on my computer, and later on I can, instead of starting a new notebook from here, later on I can go to upload and upload a notebook that I have got from somewhere else, right? So you can share your code and your results in the form of notebook, and those who have the right software can not only read it, but they can also execute it and modify it, right? So a notebook is nothing but a single file that we just carry around like any other document file or spreadsheet file and so on. Okay. So that is for today, and next time we'll actually try to learn about the details of the Jupyter language. Okay. So thank you very much.